Hi, I'm Regular Zach, and this is my limited set review for the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set. Today we are talking all about the colorless cards, and remember this is a limited set review, so I'm only talking about cards in the context of draft and sealed, so no talk about Commander, or we're not talking about Standard or any sort of constructed decks, only limited. And we're going to be putting every card on a rating scale from A to F. So A's are bombs. These are amazing cards. You want to have these in your deck, and they just impact the game so much that you would pick these cards first. B's are really great cards. These are ones that actively pull you into their colors, or if you see them in the pack, like, pick 3 or 4, you're like, whoa, okay, this is pretty nice. C's are what the majority of your deck is going to be. They're all, pretty solid, kind of varies depending on your strategy and those types of things. But, it's a lot of your deck, but you're not extremely excited by them. D's, you're actively trying to stay away from. They are cards that you're just like, ugh, I guess I have to play this card because there's nothing else for me to play. And then F's are, under no circumstances should you put this in the deck. It's horrible, and it doesn't even work in the format that we're playing. So first up, we are looking at World Map, which is a single colorless for an artifact. It's at common. It says you can pay 1 and tap it and sacrifice this artifact. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Or you can pay 3 and tap it, sacrifice it, search your library for a land card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle. All right, so we have seen cards like this before. It is a perfectly fine card, I guess. Sometimes these have like other abilities which are a little bit nicer, where like the second ability either like draws you a card, or you just have more utility with it. Basically what this is saying is that it fixes your mana for 2 mana, and you could either just get a basic, or you get to get a town, like a dual land. I don't think there's other non-basics that you could go get with this, but I don't think we're interested in that. I think we're mainly interested in just fixing our colors. I guess you could go get an adventure land if you happen to have that, and so that would give you a spell into your hand, so that would be kind of cool. But tutoring in general is not that strong, so even looking at the tutor side of this card, meh. The best thing is that this is 2 mana and you get to go get whatever land you need into your hand. That's probably the most important part of this. But altogether, I guess there are some like artifact synergies, but I'm gonna give this like a D+. I'm not super stoked about playing World Map. I think it'll just be around, but it's not nearly as good as Renegade Map was from Kaladesh. That was one of the best ones, where it only cost 1. You didn't have to pay 1 to tap it. And we had one in Duskmourn that was good because it had more utility. This one just doesn't do enough for me, and so it's just a D+. Next up, we have Lunatic Pandora, which is 1 colorless. It's a legendary artifact at common. You can pay 2 mana and tap it to surveil 1, or you can pay 6 mana and tap it, sacrifice it, destroy target non-land permanent. Yeah, this is not something I'm interested in doing. Paying 2 to surveil 1, like, if it's a really, really long format, which I think this format will be probably not extremely fast, it could be helpful surveilling, but the fact that you have to pay for it, 2 is a lot to pay for, especially if you're not looting or anything, you're just surveilling. And then the extra text of like destroying something, if in a pinch and you don't have any removal, this will kill something, but this is like a D. I really hope I never have to play this card. It just seems pretty bad to me. Next up, we have Instant Ramen. It's a 2 mana for an artifact food at common. It has flash. And it says when this artifact enters, draw a card. And you can pay 2 and tap it, sacrifice it, you gain 3 life. Just like the food ability. This card is kind of interesting because, like, the 2 mana flash draw card thing, which also would have an artifact enter and trigger a bunch of artifact things, could be good by itself. I don't think it's going to be good enough. Just playing like a food token for 2 mana that like draws you a card does not seem good enough. So in the artifact deck, I actually think there might be a spot for this, because there's some cards that like whenever an artifact enters, a bunch of things happen. And having this as almost a combat trick slash you can also use this as like a card that's in your hand, and all the artifact decks are blue, so you could be holding up counter spells, and then if that doesn't happen, you just get to flash in your food, do all your artifact stuff, and then move on with your turn. So that's kind of cool. The flash is super helpful in this. I originally had this as a D, but as I'm talking about it, I'm going to give this a C-. I think you will probably play this card, and in that deck specifically, the artifact deck, I think it might have some utility. Interesting. Also, now I'm kind of hungry for instant ramen. I do love cup noodles. Next up, we have Monk's Fist, which is 2 mana for an artifact equipment at common. It says job select. So when it enters, you create a 1/1 colorless a hero creature token, then you attach this to it. So we kind of look at all these cards as just creatures. It says equipped creature gets +1/+0 and is a monk in addition to its other types, and then you can equip it to other creatures for 2 mana. So this is just a 2 mana 2/1. Colorless 2 mana 2/1 that you can add the extra 1 to other things. I think the monk part doesn't matter that much. It is a 2-drop when you need, but it's not a good one. I'm not super excited about putting this on other stuff. I think this is like a D. I also don't really want to play this card. If I'm low on 2-drops, it might be sneaking its way into my deck, but I don't really want to. I'm not excited about playing this card at all. Like, it's kind of a disaster if I have to play Monk's Fist. Sorry, Monk. This happens a lot with the artifact spells as well. Next up, we have Adventurer's Airship, which is 3 mana for a 3/2 artifact vehicle at common. It has flying. It says whenever this vehicle attacks, draw a card, then discard a card, and you can crew for 2. Okay. The loot ability when you're attacking is quite strong. Obviously, we know about Looter Scooter. That was a great card. That had crew 1. It was a lot cheaper than this. This is like a bigger version of that. I think it has enough here. There are some vehicle stuff and things, but it's also hard because like vehicles in general it doesn't do anything without creatures. So drawing this on an empty board sucks. If they blow up all your creatures, you got nothing to do with this. Crew 2 is better. Like, that's kind of the cutoff that you would like. But there are a lot of O1s in this set that, like, make tokens. I don't know. I'm not super obsessed with this card. I think I'm just going to give this a D+. Like, I don't really want to play this. Even in the artifact-y decks, it seems fine, but I'm not super... This isn't the artifact I want to be playing in those decks, I guess. That's what I'm saying. I'd rather be playing Instant Ramen, which isn't even a creature. It just draws a card. So, D+ for Adventurer's Airship. Next up, we have Blitzball, which is a 3 mana for an artifact at common. It's a mana rock, so you can tap it to add 1 mana of any color. And then it has the ability Goal, which is a tap it, sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards, activate only if an opponent was dealt combat damage by a legendary creature this turn. Okay, so I think that this card will actually be kind of useful. A mana rock early that helps you get out your creatures, and there are a ton of legendary creatures in the set, like a ton. Like every single gold card is legendary. So you will have legendary creatures in your deck basically no matter what. I don't think it would be hard to build a deck without legendary creatures. Let's just say that. I think that's the case. So the added text of like draw 2 cards if you dealt damage to them with one of those creatures, I think that's a really big game. Like your mana rock doing something else in the late game. So this helps you ramp out your creatures early, and then you can sacrifice it to fill up your hand when you need it, and you have enough lands now. I like that. Is it amazing? No, but I think this set will be slow enough to use this card, and there's a bunch of really big 8 mana spells that are going to be like important to play. So with all that stuff all together, I think this is probably like a C-. It gets out of the D range. It does enough for it to be worth a slot in your deck. So yeah, C- for Blitzball. I think I'll play this card for sure. Also, it really looks like Titus is wearing Timberlands, right? That's I I know that that's not really what it is, but in this picture specifically, it looks like it. Anyway, next up we have Magic Pot, which is 3 mana for an artifact creature goblin construct at common. It's a 1/4. And it says when this creature dies, create a treasure token. And you can pay 2 mana, tap it, exile target card from a graveyard. It says, "Gimme elixir" is the flavor text. So a 3 mana 1/4 that dies into another artifact. Okay, there might be something here where you're happy with losing it to get double artifacts. There is a sacrifice deck that cares about creatures and artifacts dying. Treasure tokens are great with that because you can sacrifice them by themselves. There are flashback cards, and there's a bunch of graveyard things going on, so exiling cards from the graveyard. 2 mana is a lot to do that, though. Still, all in all, this is like a D. There's no way I'm excited to play this card. You know, I just don't think there's a world where we're stoked to play Magic Pot. So, blech. Next up, we have Iron Giant. Man, I love that movie. It's 7 mana for a 6/6 artifact creature demon at common. It has Vigilance, Reach, and Trample. Okay, cool. Yeah, this is just like a get out of jail free card if you don't have a top end, which I think this format you're going to need. So sure, playing a 7 mana 6/6 with a bunch of relevant keywords that either, it blocks really well, it attacks really well because it has Vigilance, both Reach and Trample. That's kind of exactly the combination that you want for, like on an empty board where your opponent's attacking you. If you slam this thing, it's going to be harder for them to, it's going to be really hard for them to get through, and you still get to attack basically. So, it is both aggressive and defensive. Nice. Am I excited that this is my top end? No. So I still think this is just like a D+, but I think it gets a little bump that like you might see this around and it could easily just be a thing that kills you. If you don't have a top end, this card could help you out with that. So yeah, but hopefully this isn't my top end. I would hope that I have better cards than this for sure. Next up, we have the uncommons. Elixir, which is a single mana for an artifact at uncommon. This artifact enters tapped, and you can pay 5 mana, tap it, exile this artifact, shuffle all non-land cards from your graveyard into your library. You gain life equal to the number of cards shuffled into your library this way. Cool. It is expensive. But the fact that we have a card that shuffles like your whole graveyard all at once into your library, that's actually big news. It's really important to know because there are certain formats where there aren't any ways to get cards back in your library. I think Aether Drift was one of them, or was it Foundations? I can't remember. But one of those was just like you just didn't have a way to do that. So if you're, milling, you could just die. There's a lot of mill strategies in the set. I think graveyards are going to be important. This card is probably going to be extremely helpful. I'm just going to give it like a C- because 6 mana total for that ability is kind of low. The plus of gaining the life is cool, and you don't shuffle any of your lands back into your library, so you only draw gas after that. That's pretty sweet. Because normally you're already, whenever you have cards like this, you tend to already sift through all your lands because you draw them and put them into play, and then your graveyard's only other cards. But if you're milling stuff, you probably have a bunch of lands in there, and so you're hoping not to get lands back when you're drawing all your cards after you played your 6 mana, shuffle your graveyard back into your library. So leaving the lands there, that's really helpful. So yeah, it does need to go in specific decks, and 5 mana is a lot to do this. And you can't do it the turn you play it. So it's it is 6 mana, but it's over 2 turns, and it has to be over 2 turns. So all of that kind of pushes it down. I think this might have been stronger at a certain point, and then they had to nerf it a little bit. But I do think that the ability to shuffle your library or your graveyard into your library is going to be very helpful. So all of that is just a C-, but I'd play this card for sure. Next up, we have Poo Poo UFO. Cool. It's 2 mana for an 0/4 artifact creature construct alien at uncommon. It has flying. And says you can tap it. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sweet. For 2 mana, 0/4? Yeah. And you can pay 3 mana until end of turn. This creature's base power becomes equal to the number of towns you control. All right. This is cool. Because this is like a walking atlas, but it still blocks. very well because it flies too. So it's a 2-mana 0/4, and you just get to sit there blocking, and then when you don't block for the turn or whatever, your opponent's end step, you just get to put a land into play, and you're just ramping like that. So obviously this wants a lot of like draw spells. Obviously at a certain point you just don't have enough lands to be doing this, but it is a really cool card. This actually helps out with some of there's a string of there's a line for the meld creatures where you need to have an extra land somewhere in there, and this is 2 mana that would be perfect for that string to make sure that you can meld on turn 5. So that's cool. But ultimately, I think this really just goes in the towns deck. You want to be able to ramp as much as possible, get as many towns on the battlefield as you can, and then this becomes a threat in the late game. So all that kind of becomes, I think this is like I don't know, I'm actually pretty happy with this card. Going through it, it's probably like, I don't think every deck wants this, so I'm probably just going to give this like a C, but I would be very happy to play this card. I think it's good. I think it's nice. All right. Next up, we have Lionheart, which is a 4-mana artifact equipment at uncommon. It says when this equipment enters, it deals 2 damage to any target, and then equipped creature gets +2/+1, and the equip cost is 2. So 4 mana for equipment that doesn't make a creature to attach it to, and it doesn't automatically attach to something. Both of those things are huge downsides to me. 4 mana for a shock is really expensive. But it is this thing that sticks around, and if you have ways to flicker your equipment, you get to do stuff with it, so that could be interesting. Ultimately, it's kind of like 4 mana is so expensive. With equip cost 2 is helpful, but I don't know, it's really hard to do this. It will obviously keep you alive, but I think that the equipment decks want to be a little bit more aggressive, and they want things to be happening. This card just seems not super exciting. The 2 damage part is nice. I don't know, man. It's, you know what? I had this as a C-, but I think I'm gonna give it like a D+. I really don't think I like this card. The damage is cool. I think it's cool, but I don't really want to play it. If my opponent plays this card, I'm gonna be like, phew, thank God they just played this stupid Lionheart thing. So yeah, sorry, Final Fantasy VIII fans. Yeah, yikes. Next up, we have Ring of Lucy, I guess. It's a 4-mana legendary artifact at uncommon. You can tap it for 2 mana, or you can pay 2, tap it, and pay 1 life to tap target non-land permanent. Okay. Sure, like a Thran Dynamo type thing. And then you can also use it as like this weird tappy artifact. I can't remember the name of that card again, but yeah, the cost of paying 1 life is obviously a lot. This ring must be really evil, and that's probably the reason why it's hurting you. I do want to ramp. I don't know how much I want to ramp, just like Colorless. I'm just going to give this like a D. I don't really want to play this card. There might be some turbo ramp decks that are really happy with this, but I don't know. It might come in handy, and maybe the tap thing will come up, but you can't tap forever because you have to pay life, so that makes it significantly worse. And 2 mana to pay for it is a lot as well. So in the end, D. I don't really like it. Next up, we have Relentless XATM 092. Ugh. 6 mana, 6/5, artifact creature, robot spider at uncommon. It says this creature can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures. Super menace. And then you can pay 8 mana to return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped with a finality counter on it. Okay, cool. Yeah, super menace on this creature. That does come into play every once in a while, where it's like pretty important. And getting it back again after it's already died, that is also pretty good. It's fairly expensive. It doesn't exactly do anything when it comes into play. I think ultimately it's probably like a C. I think I like this more than the 7 mana Juggernaut guy, just because you get to, it actually trades well. You trade with a bunch of things, then you could bring it back and do stuff again. And it wants to be like if you're attacking your opponent, they're just taking 6 every turn, and if you triple block it, then they lose a bunch of creatures, and then you just bring it back. I like all that stuff, so I'm gonna give a C for the Relentless XATM 092. Next up, we have Excalibur 2, which is a single colorless for a legendary artifact equipment at rare. It says whenever you gain life, put a charge counter on it, and then equipped a creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on it, and you get to equip for 3 mana. Okay, this card's kind of cool, because you just get to get it out on turn 1, and then you slowly just play all of your cards, and it just like gets more and more counters because you're gaining life. That is a theme in the set, so that isn't just like random text. And it will actually dome people for a lot. It could be very scary, but it does have to be in a specific deck. It doesn't do anything outside of that. Equipping for 3 mana is a little expensive, but for a card that, how much are we expecting to get out of this? Like, +3/+3 would be kind of the point where I'm like, all right, I'm pretty happy with it. +2/+2 is what I expect. If this is giving +1/+1, this is horrendous. But getting this on a lifelink or something where it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, that's nice. Yeah. All in all, this is probably like a C+, though. I think, equipment like this seem kind of exciting, but it's not in the like A range at all. I don't think this is a bomb. But I do think it will be really helpful in some of those decks. But you do need to be able to gain a bunch of life consistently, and it kind of depends on exactly what that's going to look like. So we'll see. But yeah, next up we have the Masamune. I've actually never heard this said out loud, so I don't know. Please tell me how to pronounce that. Masamune, perhaps. Anyway, it's 3 mana for a legendary artifact equipment at rare. It has, as long as equipped creature is attacking, it has first strike and must be blocked if able. An equipped creature has, if a creature dying causes a triggered ability of this creature or an emblem you own to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time, and then the equip cost is 2. All right, so this is kind of hard, because I want to give this a good grade because it's a sweet sword for Sephiroth. But the thing is that it's just a really sweet sword for Sephiroth. Like, you want this card specifically when you have Sephiroth, because Sephiroth cares about creatures dying and has an emblem that cares about creatures dying. So it triggers all that stuff again. But in a regular game of Magic, you don't have a ton of stuff. You don't necessarily even want to put this on any of your creatures that do that. I don't know. It's the first strike and must be blocked. Yeah, sure. But it doesn't give you any power. I feel like this card's like a D. This is like a D level card that if you have the other stuff going, it ratchets it up very quickly. But this is like a win more type of thing. Like, it doesn't do enough on its own. You need a creature that's big enough to care about first strike and must be blocked. And you need creatures that care about things dying. I'm going to give this... I'm going to give this like a D. I just don't think it's going to be good. If you open this up, you're not going to take it first. I mean, I guess you could and build a deck around it, but... sorry. Next up, we have the Regalia, which is 4 mana for a 4/4 legendary artifact vehicle at rare. It has haste. It says whenever the Regalia attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and it crews for 1. Okay, 4 mana crew 1. That's nice. I like that a lot. And it also has haste, so you get to do this immediately, and you just get to ramp. It also just gets lands every single time. Like, there's no way that you're not getting a land out of this because you reveal till you get that. So that's huge. It's not like, oh, you could whiff because you only flip 3 or 4 or whatever. So that's pretty sweet. You just get to rip lands out of your deck while you're attacking your opponent, and then hopefully you have something huge to play later. Or you just don't have to draw lands anymore. I like this card. I think it's pretty cool. It is still an equipment, though. Equipment. It's still a vehicle, though. So... by itself, you need something, but crew 1 is like the lowest you can go. So this is much better. I'm probably going to give this like a B because It does, like, basically draws you cards because you're ramping. And I would be really happy to have this card. 4 mana, obviously not. It's a very contested spot, but I like this card. It does the kinds of things that we're looking for in limited. And yeah, sweet. Good job. Next up, we have Genji Glove, which is 5 mana for an artifact equipment at rare. It says equipped creature has double strike. And whenever equipped creature attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap it. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, and you equip for 3. This is very strong. It's also very expensive. It's another one of these equipments that, like, you don't do anything until you have 8 mana and a creature, and your opponent didn't kill that creature when you equipped it. But like 5 mana, and then the next turn you pay 3, you equipped it to the thing, and then you attack. As long as you have something big enough, you get multiple attack steps. That's huge, because then they really don't get to block. If you get to put this on any sort of trampler, that's amazing. So this does have potential. It can be very strong, and it can kill you. But it's just so expensive. I'm more interested in this card than the Sephiroth Sword, because this does something, but it's still so expensive. I'm just going to give it like a C, because it's just so expensive, and I can't justify putting an equipment in my deck like this. Unless we're equipping for free, but still 5 mana up front is a lot, but it does kill people. It definitely kills people. So there is that. And maybe we are going long enough. It's really hard with these mana costs, and you never know the speed of the format. So it's very strong. It is very strong, but I think I'm just going to give it a C, because I can't. If I see it in a pack, I'm going to be excited, and I just know I'm going to hurt myself. I'm going to feel so bad when I play this, and then nothing happens, and then I just die. I just know it's going to happen. So I'm trying to save my feelings here. Next up, we have Ultima, Origin of Oblivion. It's 5 mana for a 4/4 legendary creature, God, at rare. It has flying. It says whenever Ultima attacks, put a blight counter on target land. For as long as that land has a blight counter on it, it loses all land types and abilities and has tap for colorless. And it says whenever you tap a land for colorless, add an additional colorless. So this is kind of cool. 5 mana 4/4 flying, sure, that's totally respectable. And when it attacks, you either pull your opponent off of colors, or you ramp yourself by losing colors. But I like that you get to choose. It's not just like turn your lands into that and then you just get to ramp, but it can give you a downside because eventually you just can't cast your spells. But you are smashing them for 4 in the air every turn. I mean, I'm more excited to pull my opponent off of colors because that's what I like to do. And if they have any sort of like other cards, like you do destroy towns. This card destroys towns, which is awesome. So against that deck, you really just rip off all the abilities on that. That's so funny. But no, I think this is pretty good. I think Ultima is like, it's pretty nice. It's like a B level type thing, B minus probably, where I can put it in any deck, which is actually huge. That's actually, no, you know what, I'm going to give it a B because of that. The fact that it's like just this colorless card that you want to be putting in decks, and stops your opponent from doing some late game stuff, or it fucks with their like 5 color shenanigan things. I like all those things. But besides that, it's just there. It doesn't do anything when it enters, so it's not like A range. But yeah, I really like this ability though. It's really cool. Next up, we have the Buster Sword. It's 3 mana for an artifact equipment at Mythic. It says equipped creature gets +3/+2, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Then you may cast a spell from your hand with mana value less than or equal to that damage without paying its mana cost, and you can equip for 2. Oh, buddy. This is the equipment we're looking for. This is what we want. So much better than all the other ones we've been seeing. This is cheap enough because 5 mana total is like so much easier to do. It gives a huge boost. +3/+2 is huge. You get to put this on any creature and it makes them gigantic. Huge threat. Your opponent never wants to let you hit them with it because you're drawing cards and you're playing things for free. Like, obviously, worst case scenario is you're playing a 3-drop But worst case scenario, you're playing a 3-drop from your hand? That's amazing. And that would be on one of the 0/1 like wizard token things. Everything else is going to have at least a little bit of power. So like playing 4 drops from your hand for free that you might have drawn off of this card. If this card, you put this on a double striker, anything like that, it's nuts. I think this card is very, very good. I'm very excited to play this first. I'm going to give this I will say this is an A minus, because obviously you still need creatures, but it's not hard. Like, I will take this if I ever see it. I think almost any deck is really excited about playing this card. It's, because of that, I'm just going to give this an A. It goes in every deck. It's awesome. And Buster Sword, so sick. So sick. I really like this card. Yes, finally an equipment that's amazing. Love it. Next up, we have A tier and Priwen, which is 6 mana for a legendary artifact equipment at Mythic. It says equipped creature has base power and toughness XX, where X is your life total, and a equip cost is 5. No. We just saw what we wanted equipment to be. This is not it. 11 mana to just boost your card. Like, it just gives base power. So it's not even plus X. It's just your base power is your life total. Like, this card is just... I think this might be an F. It's borderline F. If you can equip things for free, maybe it's better. Like, sure, it's really exciting when you give your creature like +15/+15. You're like, whoa, this is huge. But it gets chumped forever. If it's not on a trampler, like, it doesn't do very much at all. It is gigantic, but it takes your entire turn to equip it. It seems really exciting. I think there are use cases for it. You can do stuff with it. So I'm going to give it a D. Officially, it's like a D-. We're going to give a D- to this card. It does have utility. It's not a straight F. It doesn't just like not go in the format, but it's very, very close. Where this card looks like it's supposed to be in Commander, where you're cheating on the actual cost to play it, and you're cheating on the equipment cost. Then, and in Commander, you're giving it like +30, or not +30, but it's like a 30/30. You know what I mean? So that's a lot more exciting. Obviously, our life totals are lower in Limited, and this is just way too expensive. And you still need creatures, and your opponent can still kill them in response to the equip thing. It all sucks. So D- to trending to F. This just please don't put this card in your deck, or have a very specific plan on why. Like, have a reason you can tell me why you're going to put this in your deck. But other than that, it's just so bad. It's so bad. Ugh. Next up, we have a card that's very good. This is Summon Bahamut, which is a 9 mana 9/9 enchantment creature saga dragon at Mythic. It has flying. So 9 mana 9/9 flying. And it is a summon. But it has 4 chapters. The first 2 are the same. It says destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Chapter 3 is draw 2 cards. And then chapter 4 is Mega Flare. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. Okay. So 9 mana, you blow something up. Right, so this is like a meteor golem. Then so that's on your first turn. So this is a great ramp target, obviously. It goes in every deck. You get to blow something up. Your following turn, you blow up another thing. There's no way your opponent's able to block this, because you got to blow up all their blockers, essentially. You get to attack them for 9. The next turn, you draw 2 cards and then attack them for 9 again. And then hopefully you're able to play enough stuff out so then on the 4th chapter, when this blows up, you just kill your opponent. It just kills them. If you have 11, mana value worth of permanents on your battlefield, you just get to just dome them in the face. This is very, very good. I'm going to give this like an A+, and I think that the format lends itself to play cards like this. A lot of times 9 mana is just like, whoa, 9 mana, that's a lot. But this does everything you would want, even though it doesn't stick around that long. Like, how many games have you played where you play your big bomb thing, and you only needed one extra turn with it to attack. Like, it attacks twice and you win the game. That's basically what this says. And it says, hey, if you didn't win the game by the time that you attacked twice, I'm just going to blow up and kill everything. That's just what it does. Amazing. A+. This is the card you're looking to open in your sealed pool. It's this one. It's right here. All right. Next up, we are moving into the lands. So we've been talking about these a lot, but these are the town lands. There is one for every single color combination. So this is Guado Salam, which is Far Plain Getaway. It's a land town at common. Enters tapped and taps for 2 colors. Like I said, there's one for all of them. These are gonna be great. These are like, they're kind of like gates, but there's some, actually no, they play very, very closely to gates. Just because the town part only matters for cards that say town. It doesn't gain you a life. It doesn't do anything else. But it's also funny because this seems like a very specific place. It's not legendary, but, I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, this one in particular will be good just because the town deck is base green-blue. It's kind of 5-color, but base green-blue, so you'll want this one the most. But yeah, these are all like C pluses. Every deck wants to have their dual land, and dual lands are just really good. We just like them a lot, and they help out your mana base a ton because limited mana bases are pretty bad. So making sure that you can catch your spells on time or make sure you have all your colors, they're extremely helpful. So yeah, I like these a lot. C+. We're happy to have these in our deck. Next up is Crossroads Village. It's another land town at common. It says this land enters tapped. As it enters, choose a color, and it taps for that color. So this is, I think, still worse than the dual towns. Dual towns seem just better because it taps for 2 colors, and if it is the colors of your deck, it's just much more useful to have a land that can do either or instead of having to choose on that turn. Like, it's difficult where you're playing and you're like, okay, well, I have 2 lands in my hand, that I often keep 2 land hands and I shouldn't. But I play it as one of the colors, and then I end up only getting that color as I draw all my lands. So it's like, oh, I have a mountain and this, and then I play this for black, and then I just keep drawing swamps afterwards, and I have a double red card in my hand. I'm like, well, how was I supposed to know that? If it was a dual town, that's not a problem. So I prefer the dual towns, but this works in its place. So this is like closer to a C-. You do get to choose, but then it's stuck as that color. So that's exciting. Next up, we have Adventurers Inn, which is another land town at common. It says when this land enters, you gain 2 life, and you get to add Colorless to your mana pool. I do not like this. Yes, there is a, life gain deck, but gaining 2 life is not good enough for playing a colorless land. Playing a colorless land really hurts your mana base, and just gaining 2 life doesn't do it. There are so many times where you're going to have to gain 2 life from this land before you get any of the things that proc off of gaining life. Do you know what I mean? Because it's one of your lands, like, you don't always have the liberty to just hold it in your hand and wait. Sometimes you just have to play it and then it just doesn't tap for the colors you need. Sometimes you get screwed because of it and it doesn't even do the thing you wanted. This is like a D. You can play this in the dedicated life gain deck, but I'm not happy about playing it in that deck. I don't really like... This is just like a reskin of other cards that we've had that are like this, and I don't think they ever play very well. Not exciting card. Next up, we have the Gold Saucer, which is another land town at uncommon. It taps for colorless. You can pay 2 and tap it to flip a coin. If you win the flip, create a treasure token. You can pay 3 mana and tap it, sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card. All right. This is interesting. The coin flip part, I really don't like, because there's not a lot of other coin flipping things. There's one rare that cares about helping you with coin flips. I guess this is the only card that really does that. So hoping that you get treasures, ugh. 3 mana tapping and sacrificing artifacts to draw a card is okay. There is an artifact deck, and like maybe you're like sacrificing your instant ramen for cards again, but you need 2 artifacts. This isn't an artifact itself, so you can't sacrifice it. You have to have other artifacts. But in an artifact deck, tapping for colorless doesn't hurt that much. I think ultimately I'm still not happy with this card. It is something to do if you're holding up counter spells and then, you know, you just get to flip a coin and hope to get a treasure token. But the fact that you're hoping to do it, I don't know. This seems like a fun card for Commander, but this doesn't look like a good card for Limited. So I'm going to give this like a D because there's a possibility you could use it to draw cards, but maybe in the sack deck you need a way to sacrifice artifacts. I don't know. D minus. D minus. I don't like the saucer. Sorry, Gold Saucer, you suck. Next up, we have Eden, Seat of the Sanctum. It's a land town at uncommon. It taps for colorless. And you can pay 5 mana and tap it to mill 2 cards. Then you may sacrifice this land. When you do, return another target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. All right. Mill 2 cards and then return something. But you don't have to. So you could just mill cards and then you may sacrifice the land to return it. But if you didn't mill something that you want to put back in your hand, you just keep your land and wait. But 5 mana is so expensive. Like, it's so expensive to just use that to mill yourself. I think there's a utility for it. Being able to put a card from your graveyard back into your hand is nice, but 5 mana to do that sucks because you're not going to do that on the turn. Like, you don't get to do that on the same turn. At least you could hold it up and then use it on your opponent's turn and then get your card and then play it on your turn. But then it still takes 2 turns. I don't know. It just feels so expensive. 5 mana to do this. It's like a D. I don't really want to play this. I'm not excited for it. D for the Eden. Ugh. Oh man, these are sad. Next up, we have Capital City, which is a land town at uncommon. It taps for colorless, or you can pay 1 and tap it to add 1 of any color, and it has cycling for 2 mana, 2 colorless mana, or whatever color you want. Sweet. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. You could either play Capital City or you could play Crossroads Village, which are both of this, like, it taps for 1 color, but the Crossroads Village, you have to pick which color it is. And this one, you do at least get to filter and you get to change the color. It does make your spells cost 1 extra, but you also have the utility of cycling it later in the game if you don't want it and you draw it late. So I like this a bit better. I'm going to give this like a C. Like a lot of times I don't love these filtery lands, but I think that the cycle is super helpful. That's like a big game. It comes into play untapped, and it can fix your mana in any way that you want. You just have to take a turn off, kind of like you have to, play off curve. But I do like this card. I think this is like a C. The cycling bumps it up just enough for it to be good. So yeah, Capital City. Okay, good. Next up, we have Clive's Hideaway, which is a land town at rare. It has Hideaway 4, which, if you don't know, it says when this land enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It taps for colorless, and you can pay 2 and tap it. You may play the exiled card without paying its mana cost if you control 4 or more legendary creatures. Sure. Hideaway can be a very strong ability, being able to cast something for free. You don't know what the card's going to be, so it's kind of just, we'll find out. But having it on a land feels like it's a little free. Like you didn't have to pay mana into it to do this ability. And then if you're playing this in the Legendary Matters deck, there's a weird duality with that because a ton of the legendaries are either double pipped or multiple colors. So having a colorless land in your deck does hurt. And having 4 legendary creatures is a lot. I said that you're going to have legendary creatures, just that it's going to be hard to not have them in your deck. But having 4 at one time is difficult. But 2 mana to actually activate it, that's actually not the worst. 2 mana is pretty good. Pretty good for this type of ability. With all that being said, it's hard. I would probably play this for fun. Is it going to be a great land? I don't know. It ultimately might just like exile your best thing and then you just never get to cast it. So I think there is an upside to it, but I was thinking that I was going to get a little bit of a better grade just because it seems fun. But ultimately, I don't think you're going to be able to activate that bottom bit. Your opponent's going to kill it or will kill your creatures, so you just never get to be on it. And and you're just gonna exile something from your deck when you play your land. So maybe this is just a card for a different format. Maybe try it out. There's a possibility you can, but all of that wrapped together is like a D+. Yeah, I don't like this card. Man, some of these towns don't seem super great. Clive, your hideaway sucks, buddy. Next up, we have Starting Town. Yeah, this is my favorite one. It's a land town at rare. And it says, this land enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game. It taps for colorless, and it also taps to pay 1 life and add 1 mana of any color. Amazing. This fixes you forever. It comes into play untapped on the turns that really, really matter. And yeah, this is the card that's going to sneak into your brain and be a little bit too, it's going to feel like, oh, I can splash anything if I have this card. Don't do that. But I think most decks would like this card. The fact that you do pain yourself, that is a big deal in Limited, just because, we might not be able to be perfectly we might not be as fast as we're hoping, or, that life might actually matter. If, you lose 3 life off of this card over the course of the game, that could be the difference between winning and losing. Really great standard card for sure. But as far as Limited goes, I think you'll definitely put it in your deck. I like it a lot. I'm going to give it a C. I think this card is sweet. It's really hard for me to not like Starting Town. And I'm going to take it very highly because I want to make sure I get all my copies for Arena. But yeah, this card, awesome. And I really hope to open a bunch of these. They're cool. C for Starting Town. Next up, we have Balam Garden Seed Academy. So this is a land town at rare. It taps. It comes into play tapped, and then it taps for green and blue. And you can pay 7 mana, so 5 green blue, to transform it. And the ability costs 1 less to activate for each town you control. It transforms into a vehicle. It's a Balam Garden Airborne, which is a 5/4 legendary artifact vehicle with flying. And whenever it attacks, you draw a card, and crew is only 1. Okay, this is definitely a payoff for the town thing. It is the colors that we care about for the towns. That's, the green blue, like I said before. This is the color combination that we want to be in. Making this ability cost a lot cheaper is great, and then filling up your hand with cards while attacking for 5 in the air is pretty good. And crew 1 is the best you could possibly get. I think a lot of that deck wants to play 1/4s and stuff. So being able to kind of turn that into this attacking and drawing cards. When you attack, you don't even have to hit your opponent. You still get to draw cards. All that becomes something great, and it feels like it's free because it's just in your land slot. Like getting a threat late in the game that's a land. I think that's all pretty exciting. This card, I'm gonna give this a B. I think that this card is actually going to be pretty good. It's going to be really annoying when you see your opponent has it and they're playing their stuff, playing their towns, and then they just 2 mana, flip it, attack, draw a card. You have to deal with this stupid land that you're it just feels like a free threat. It feels free in that deck. Every other deck, it's still a land. It's still one of the, it's like a C+ in those other ones, right? You could still play this in other decks that are hoping to do this thing, though, green blue, if you're playing a green blue deck that wants to be casting those spells, you're in the town deck already. So it feels like just gravy for having a land that you already want to have. So I think that's good. Nice B for Balam. Makes sense. All right, folks. Well, that has been all the colorless cards for the Final Fantasy set. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and if you think I was wrong on any of these things, or if you thought I was really, really right. What do you think about all these equipment that are really expensive and hard to equip, but are really powerful? Am I rating them too low? What do you think? That's what I'm most interested in, really. Check out all the other videos. There's ones for all the different colors, the multicolor, the bonus sheet. So see all that stuff. And yeah, but ultimately, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all next time. Bye.